All right, we are live, or at least I believe we are. Welcome back, everybody. This is live stream number 2 on the Geeky Nerdy Techy YouTube channel. How's that for a podcast style start? Anyway, we're going to talk about some camera stuff today, some lens equipment, whatever. It's all up to you guys what we talk about, but I'm also going to ask for maybe some feedback on some decisions, some tough decisions I've got to make coming right up. So, welcome everybody. I hope you're all doing well. I'll just give it a few minutes to make sure that it's all working. If there's any problems with the audio or video, let us know. So the comments are right here. Well, they will be once I move the screen over. And then I can put them on screen, do all that kind of stuff. So it was an awesome first live stream last week. Thank you everyone who joined in. I was going to try and schedule this up ahead of time. It didn't happen, unfortunately. Just crazy week. It's been a busy week, but my regular videos will be coming up starting tomorrow again. I've got more videos already scheduled and a few that I'm scheduling for a little bit later on as well. So there should be plenty of good content hopefully coming up. All right, we've got Mike here. Welcome, Mike. Hope you're doing well, man. Let's add you to this. Here we go. He's from Southwest Montana. Very cool. I love your horse there, mate. That's awesome. It's the beautiful part of the US that is the Midwest. Is that what they call it? It looks like a beautiful place. I haven't actually been there before, but spent a lot of time in the US. Never gone there. Need to. It looks fantastic. Dean Hood, welcome, mate. Fellow Aussie, awesome stuff. Thanks for joining in, mate. I appreciate it. Let us know where you're watching from as well. You don't have to be too specific, of course. It's always good to know where everyone's watching from. That's awesome. So I just, at the start of this live stream, just a minute ago, I said I might have to make some tough decisions here with some camera equipment. I'm definitely going to be moving on a few things. Kind of on the fence about what to do, to be honest. I'm kind of edging this way, edging that way. I'm in a bit of a peculiar situation based on the fact that not only do I love using camera equipment that I use for projects outside of YouTube and all that kind of stuff, but I also have a YouTube channel, so I'm kind of confused in some way which way to go with the decision, and I'll bring that up in just a moment. But thanks for joining in, guys. I appreciate it. We got Mike here as well from the oh, sorry, that's the same Mike he's in Northern Rockies. Very cool, mate. Awesome stuff. All right, let us know what you're shooting with and what if you're into video, if you're into photography. That's kind of where I'm sort of struggling with. So right now I've got 2 Sony cameras, and they're both video-centric ones, essentially, right? So they kind of excel at the video side. They can take okay photos as well, no questions about it, but definitely not on the same level as like a dedicated photography camera. So I'm thinking that I probably will trade in both the FX3 and FX30 and potentially just sort of get a good hybrid camera between both. That's kind of like the plan right now. So I'm looking at a few potentially different Sony camera bodies, or do I just get rid of everything, potentially get something completely different? That's where we're at. So last week on the stream I said I ended up getting a second Sony FX30, and I ended up changing my mind last minute, so we'll talk about that as well. It's crazy. Hey, we got Tristan here. How are you, man? He says LUMIX S5 Mark II, my favorite camera currently. I have multiples of them. My multi-camera live, not my live streaming, my multi-camera setup for my YouTube channel. My other one is all LUMIX S5s. Awesome. Shooting this with a S5 Mark II X through the ATEM Mini and their little DMW XLR adapter. So hopefully it all sounds good. Thanks for joining in, mate. Let us know where you're watching from as well. You should be outside, turning into a nice day. You're absolutely right. I went for a huge walk yesterday, so I got out for a bit yesterday, but maybe later on. It's still relatively early in the afternoon here, so we'll probably go for an hour. Maybe I'll get outside after that. But yeah, it's a beautiful day this winter. While it's been cold at night, we actually have a lot of sunny days, and there's been no wind either, which has been great. I think once the wind kicks in, it gets way perceivably colder. So yeah. Mike says he uses the GH5 Mark II and a S5 II, sorry. I'm going to move my comments just a hair over out of the way of this, my line of sight here. That's better. Awesome stuff. Great cameras. Both will give you great results, and they're both very similar visually too, in many ways, in terms of color science and stuff. So that's cool. Maybe the S1H Mark II. You know, I can't wait to see what happens with that. I don't, if I haven't signed any NDA, so I can speculate on it. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what they do. I think it's going to be overkill for me. Like, I'm already starting to think like the GH7's probably overkill for me in some ways, but I still want one. It doesn't mean that I don't. But the reason I want to get rid of my Sony FX30 is I'm not and FX3, I should say, so both. I don't really need the 4K at 120 frames per second as much as I thought I did initially. It's not something that I use a lot, and I got other cameras that can already do that. Even the G9 Mark II can kind of do that as well. So yeah, even though that's micro four thirds, I kind of like using those cameras. But the S1H Mark II would have to have something huge, right? Like open gate 60 frames per second or something like that to take it kind of to the next level. I think this year is going to be a pretty big year for their cameras. It already, there's already been 2 pretty cool announcements, releases and announcements. So yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, we got is it Asaf from New York? Welcome, man. I've never been to New York. Kind of scares me. It looks way too big. No, actually, I'd love to go there. It'd be good fun. I hear it's ridiculously expensive to be a tourist in New York. I've had family that have gone there, and everything costs a lot. So yeah. All right, Tristan's from Toronto. Very cool, mate. Awesome stuff. Got some Canadian creators here and artists by the look of it. You like your profile photo. All right, Christchurch, New Zealand. Very cool. Just bought a GH7 after watching many of your videos. Thanks. No worries, man. They're great cameras. Like I just said a moment ago, I'm like, I really want one. It's kind of one of those things. Do I need it? Well, I don't know. The G9 Mark II is most of the way there, but do I want one? Absolutely. I'm glad they're helpful anyway, man. I love using the LUMIX system. I've been using it for a long time. I kind of learnt the ins and outs of a lot of their menus and features and stuff. I still don't know everything about them. And just when you think you do, there's something that you find out. You're like, oh yeah, I didn't know it could do that. So you're going to love it. It's a great camera. All right, we got Joy from Ottawa. Very nice. Awesome stuff. Welcome to the live stream. This is the second official live stream. If you want to be updated, everybody, on the next one, click the notification bell. I tend to tend to put these out a hair before now, like the scheduling. Just a little bit before the actual live stream goes up. I don't do them too far ahead, unfortunately. So, yeah, if you want to join in right at the start, everybody, you can just click the bell. Hey, the great Vanzini's here as well. Welcome back, mate. Hope you're doing well. He's a guitar player and a photographer. So we both share the guitar. It's great. Awesome stuff. You'll buy a GH7, I'm sure. Yeah, you could be right, Simon. You could be right. I think, yeah, these are the decisions I've got to make. So what I was going to talk about in this stream and get everybody's sort of feedback on is where I'm at when it comes to what I'm getting rid of, what I do, and what I'm looking at, and see if any of those things kind of line up. So anyway, so I said earlier on, I'm going to trade in my Sony FX3 and the FX30. So both of those are going to go, and that leaves me with 0 Sony cameras. I'm looking at actually getting potentially something that's ridiculously cheap from their lineup just to do lens reviews that come in. Doing YouTube, it's good to have an E-mount camera for Viltrox lens reviews, or Sirui or whoever, right? Like a lot of these brands will also make the same lenses for micro four thirds a lot of the time, and also for X-mount. So that might be the only other one I would consider as potentially a Fuji, but yeah, I don't know. I think maybe something just APS-C and less expensive, maybe like a A6700 or something like that might be the choice. APS-C camera allows me to do my lens reviews, and I don't want a flagship camera anymore from Sony. I'm done, because they just basically will take the same tech and trickle it down into far less expensive cameras until you're left with a really expensive paperweight. Actually, they're still great cameras, but yeah, you know what I mean. They just keep doing that, so I'm kind of not overly interested in holding on to them, and I definitely want something that has a little bit better stabilization. That's the main thing that's killing me with their cameras. I love them in the studio, but having 2 flagship cameras kind of sitting around in the studio, it makes no sense. The S5 Mark II X is better in my opinion. I much prefer it. So yeah, I'm looking at it potentially doing that, or just waiting and seeing if the ZV-E10 Mark II comes out. There's an announcement for that I think in the next 5 days or so, at least I saw a schedule up on YouTube for a video or promo thing. So if that's not too expensive, that might be the way to go. Or an A7C2 and just flip the rest of these. Or just go all in and get rid of everything and kind of go back to Micro Four Thirds for that other system. You know, I love my S5 Mark II and X. They're not going anywhere, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that right now. All right, let me go back to the chat for a sec. All right, we've got JD. Welcome, mate, from Melbourne. Awesome stuff. We're repping Melbourne over here, me and you. Need and want. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the want wins a lot of the time. Should I trade in my G9II for the GH7? See, that's the other question I've been asking myself, and the answer I think it's a no, right? Like, unless you need raw recording and active cooling, there's no real benefit to it other than the fan and raw recording. Now, there's some additional autofocus modes in the GH7, and you could argue 32-bit float's a huge thing as well when it comes to audio. I think that's a pretty big thing, right? But if you don't really need those, then it's not going to be a huge upgrade. It's just going to be something that gives you the confidence of having it in any shooting condition and being able to let it run all day. The G9 Mark II is pretty hard to overheat unless it's in direct sunlight outside with no clouds. Otherwise, it's pretty bulletproof when it comes to overheating. That's the question, right? My other question is, should I get a GH7, second G9 Mark II, after I move all this other stuff on? They're the questions you have. But I think it really comes down to the raw recording, just to answer your question, and the active cooling. If those things are important to you, definitely do the change. And if not, save your money. Paul, how are you, man? From Perth, my favorite town. Awesome, I love Perth. Perth's great. Welcome to the live stream, I appreciate it. Does the G9 Mark II overheat in 4K 120 frames per second? All 5K modes have zero overheating. So yeah, you can get it to overheat. In my review video of the G9 Mark II, I actually posted a section, or I added a section about overheating. I got it to overheat after about 22 minutes or something of 4K at 120 frames per second in S and Q mode, which slows that all down in camera. So you're getting 4 times the amount of length of that recording slowed down in camera into a file, and in that mode it does overheat. But just using it for 20 seconds at a time or 5 seconds at a time, over the course of a day, it's not going to overheat. The only mode I was able to get that camera to overheat in the studio was 4K at 120 in S and Q mode, and all 100 frames per second. Otherwise, yeah, you let that run all day. The 5K modes don't overheat in my tests. I let it run all day in the studio as well. But again, outside, you've got to be careful. If it's in direct sunlight and the sun's kind of hitting the back of the camera, it will heat up to the point where you can overheat it. But that said, I used it in a 40 degrees Celsius day, which I think is around 105 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. And it was overcast and it didn't overheat at all. So yeah, it really depends on the situation. It's not as temperamental as a lot of other cameras. It's not as robust as the GH5, but we are also getting higher resolution. So I think that could be, play a part in potentially wide overheats. Everyone wants the smaller camera bodies, but you put these crazy recording modes in a smaller camera body, and then all of a sudden it's going to heat up more. So Richard Wong actually did a great video on that. You should check it out on his channel. But yeah, it's pretty solid overall. Seems like swapping the FX3 and FX30 for a GH7 would be amazing. Yeah, man, that's back of my mind. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't shoot Micro Four Thirds enough anymore because I've got other sort of solutions set up for. I've got way too many cameras, which is a big reason why I want to get rid of some stuff. But yeah, the GH7's pretty much my perfect. I've got a video coming up about this. The reason I bought the FX3 back in the day was the autofocus, and I knew the IBIS would be its downside, and it gives you really premium image quality. Now it's like, what's more important to me is IBIS. I want better stabilization, less post-stabilization, just better straight out of camera footage. That's what's really important to me, and good image quality at the expense of less background separation. I'd prefer that over a really blurry background and horrible footage in terms of shakiness. So that's kind of where I'm coming at it. And this is why the S5 Mark II X is kind of hard to beat. It's like the and the S5 Mark II, kind of like the perfect blend of both. They've got excellent image quality, you can get the blurry background easy, awesome stabilization. They're just hard to beat. But the GH7 is pretty much like bulletproof in any situation as well. You get those higher record rates and no crops, so it's pretty wild. Don't sell your Sonys. Nah, they're gonna go. I'm definitely going to be selling them. I've got them boxed up at the moment. You probably noticed the Sony boxes are missing from the wall. I'm going to take them down to a shop locally, and I've just got some quotes on some trade-ins today, and I'll see what we can do. I definitely want to keep one E-mount camera, or I don't definitely want to do that, but if I do get another one, it's going to be almost an entry-level camera. I don't need a high-end Sony camera at all anymore. And as the tech has trickled down into these less expensive camera bodies, what's the point? What's the point of owning a Sony FX3 unless you need the active cooling? But if you're just getting into it, you could get a much cheaper camera than that now. The E1, like Peter Gregg's got, actually, he hasn't had too many problems with overheating with his, but he doesn't use it as his primary camera. So it's a great choice. It's like half the price. So there's a lot of those kind of factors when it comes to the Sony equipment over, buying something else like GH7, for example. The only other camera with the same sort of tech is the G9 Mark II. But there's not one that's like half the price. So yeah, it is what it is. I don't think I'll miss them. I love owning that camera because it looks cool, but I just don't enjoy using it as much, unfortunately. I'm swapping out my A7 III for the GH7 and the 12 to 35mm Leica for my channel video. Very cool. That's kind of what I was thinking of. That Leica 12 to 35. It's pretty great. I had a chance to test one a while ago, and I own version 2. And there's some definite improvements with like flaring and how it handles those situations. But they're very much the same lens at the end of the day. The autofocus motors are fine for video and for photos, and it's just a great little lens. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I want to make more use of like some of the stuff that's been sitting around as well, and that's the other reason I want to sort of start shooting with a few of these other cameras more, which is why I want less stuff. It's a good problem to have in a way, but yeah, I've toyed with this idea before, but never really publicly spoken about it. But I'm definitely going to look for something cheaper, whether that's the A6700, the ZV-E1, if I can find a used one of those maybe or something like that, that might be an option. But even that's kind of overkill for what I need to do, lens reviews with the E-mount. I just want something cheaper. So there's a A7C2, which kind of looks cool. It's got a bigger grip than the original, which is a good thing, but I don't know. Anyway, this will only be, like the Sony will literally only be for lens reviews, because I've already got a lot of E-mount lenses from third-party manufacturers and stuff, and I really like testing those out because you can get a good bargain. But pairing like a $60 lens, at least in, I'll say $100 Australian lens with a flagship camera doesn't make any sense. No one's going to be doing that. So I thought I'd just get something a little bit better in terms of, I don't think a lot of people who are going to be buying a FX3 are going to be putting on a $60 lens, for example. So it's time to change it up. All right, but yeah, so in terms of your comment there, swapping out the A7 III for GH, I think you're going to be pretty happy with that, especially when it comes to the IBIS and rolling shutter and all that kind of stuff. So good stuff. People are still using the EVA 1. I don't really know much about that camera. I know of it, and I've seen some videos and discussions about it, but I don't really know. I think in maybe like higher end production potentially, but I don't do that sort of stuff. I just do this kind of stuff. That's complete overkill for me. I'm all about size, performance, like that size to price to performance ratio now. And like as the price of some of these things, other cameras have come down, they represent so much better value. Oh, the car's flying by. Sorry about the noise here. They represent so much better value than what I've currently got tied up in the Sony FX3. I feel like everything else caught up, and you can get it for a third of the price basically. Greetings from Texas. Very cool, man. Welcome. This is Joe. He says, rocking a PRS DW and have an A6700. Great camera. Really like you in the blues channel. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. There's a lot of crossover between guitarists and camera aficionados, or nerds, as we like to call it. So welcome, mate. I hope you are doing well. The A6700 looks like the potential winner out of the ones I've seen. I like that sort of auto framing thing too. The only problem I see with that is I don't think it's got. Does it have the new digital? What's it called? There's a new stabilization mode for video. I don't know if it's in that camera, right? The active dynamic stabilization. I'm kind of leaning towards a camera with that, or the auto framing. I think it's got auto framing from memory, but yeah, great stuff, man. Let us know. And I hope you're enjoying your PRS. That's always cool. I think your G9 Mark II and GH6 will suffice unless you absolutely need the perks of the GH7. I think you're probably right. It's more about the autofocus, to be honest, for me. As someone who does a lot of outside stuff, it's really handy to have autofocus that works, and it's great to see like how well it works with even the older lenses. It sort of gives you confidence. And I do a lot of stuff where I'm not behind the camera, obviously, too. Like if I'm shooting with Rhiannon, there's sometimes where I'm actually like in front of the camera talking, and I'll need her to film. So just having something that works takes all of that complication out. Yeah, I don't know if I actually really need the GH7. It's definitely not a camera that would yeah, it's funny. The GH6 and G9 Mark II pretty much cover a lot of the stuff that I need. You're right. It's crazy stuff. Oh, here we go. So Mr. Dros, is that how we say your name? He says, I sold my S5 2X for the GH7. Crazy. Well, I'll tell you what, man. You're going to love it. It's such a great camera. The only major difference, obviously, is how much shallow depth of field's easy to create. But if you're shooting with manual focus lenses, you can get so many fast lenses that will give you comparable kind of background blur. There's a slight difference potentially in dynamic range, but that's about it. I mean, they're all so good now. And I watched this discussion on, it wasn't actually Petapixel's channel. I mentioned it last week saying it was, but it was Chris and Jordan on another Tyler's channel. I can't remember. I'll link it down below after this anyway. They're talking about how like the camera image quality is basically plateaued now, and it doesn't matter what you use. And they're absolutely right. Whether I'm shooting micro four thirds with the GH6 or the G9 Mark II or the S5 Mark II X or any of these Sony cameras, there's not a lot in it. So it comes down to what do you value the most, and feature set, usability, handling, and all the things, those intangibles. Do you need the best autofocus, or do you prefer better image stabilization? These are the kind of things I'm thinking about now as someone who has way too much stuff and doesn't need it all. But I tell you what, man, you're going to love it. The GH7 is a beast, and it's still haunting my thoughts. You just got to get it out of your system sometimes, right? LUMIX makes some great cameras for sure. And this is the thing, I've been shooting with them for so long, like back at the GH5, the G85 days and all that kind of stuff. And even before that, the FZ2500. I just like the way that they operate. And I had a Canon briefly, and I've had a couple of other type of cameras over the years, and I just prefer them. I don't know what it is. I even stuck with them through all the DFD autofocus days, and now they're caught up, and I don't really see a trade-off. People complain. I think Terry Warfield mentioned. No, it wasn't Terry. It was, who was it? It was another dude I was watching. He was saying like the crops are the only things that people complain about now. But before that, no one cared. It was all about the autofocus. Now, I can live with the 4K 60 crop if I need to. It's not that big of a deal for me anymore. GH5 is a legend. Just bought one, and I am loving it. Very cool. The GH5 is such a great camera, and I've got a video coming up about pretty much this exact topic as well, because from the GH5 onwards, minus some of the improvements in IBIS and overall dynamic range, and that the GH5 was pretty much the start of that great image quality, right? You get the good IBIS, you get great IBIS even on the GH5. It's awesome. You can get great. You could use that as your main camera now and have it look great. That's how good the GH5 is. So well done. GH5 and the 5S taught me how to use cameras more than anything else. They were the two that I really started to learn them. I knew them back to front. I knew how to white balance and remove that green skin tint just by moving the box 2 down and 2 to the left. So it was like I learned so much about how to operate those cameras, looking for the most efficient results without having to do anything in editing. And they were just absolute workhorses. I took a pair of them over to Germany. I took one GH5 and G85 over to Germany, shot some videos for a different project, and they were just unbelievable. Like, they never let me down, man. They're just two absolutely robust cameras, those old Micro Four Thirds ones. The GH5 is fantastic. Color grading on Sony is difficult. Vlog color grading is like hot butter on toast, easy and smooth. I 100% agree. It's so much easier to use Vlog straight out of camera. If you just want the camera to be like, to say shoot in Vlog outside, if you're shooting in shutter or aperture priority mode, it exposes the scene properly. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to push everything to the right. Or I always found once Sony moved over to the whole Cine EI and Cine EI quick modes, they overcomplicated it. I preferred to shoot on my A7S3 at the time than use those new features. So yeah, I don't know. That was a little bit on the yeah, I just totally agree. It's much easier. And I think it looks better as well, the Vlog. Well, from my color grading skill level anyway. Okay, it's bedtime, but I want to say thanks for the broadcast. Does connecting a monitor HDMI on the GH7 change the autofocus quality? No, it doesn't. And you actually get dual displays now. So unlike the GH6 and all the recent LUMIX cameras, they finally brought back the mirroring. So you can have the mirror on, you know, like your external monitor can show you exactly what's on the selfie screen and vice versa now if you want it to do that. So no, I didn't notice any issues with autofocus in those modes. I don't think I actually tested it in like OpenGate or anything like that, but just I didn't notice it. So yeah, you should be okay. But yeah, have a good night and thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. I'm selling my Sony 2 now. I hope you know, everyone. This isn't to encourage everyone else to sell their stuff, right? This isn't to say they're bad cameras, because they're not bad cameras. I just feel like where I'm at now with my main rig setup, that having a flagship camera sitting around doing nothing, unless I kind of like just use it out of boredom, doesn't make any sense. It's like I'm reviewing lenses with a Sony FX3. It's complete overkill. It's fun, but it's completely unnecessary now. So yeah, I'm really weighing up my decisions with what to do with that. It's either I just get rid of everything or I just get like an entry-ish level, or not entry level, you know, like sort of like an A6700, not complete entry level, but that middle ground kind of stuff. And I think that would be the way to go. They look like really solid cameras. So yeah, don't feel obliged to sell everything based on this idiot right here. If you could only buy one LUMIX camera, which one would you go for? Man, this is something I was talking to a few other guys about. I don't know if I could replace my S5 Mark IIX with a GH7 as a primary camera. This just looks so good. I love the lenses as well for the L mount now. Like that S series of primes are some of my favorites. So if I had to just buy one, I'd buy either an S5 Mark II or X. No questions about it. And that's what I'm shooting this live stream with. So hopefully it looks good. We get the autofocus that actually works, and the lens lineup is so new that the autofocus actually works really well with all of the lenses I've tested so far. Maybe the only downside is there's not enough kind of like cheaper third-party lenses for L mount. But overall, this camera is the best. I prefer shooting with it over any like the FX3. It's not even close. If I'm shooting handheld, this demolishes my FX3, and yeah, I love it. It's such a great camera. We're gonna plan on doing some, or maybe next year do a bit of a shoot somewhere away, and I want to take a pair of these with me because they're that good. I actually also want to take the the S9 for a B-roll camera. That might trigger everybody, but they're also really fun, but they have obviously some issues with recording limitations and stuff, but great little camera. But yeah, the S5 2X would be my choice. If I just had to get one, it's pretty hard to choose. I guess if you're already invested with micro four thirds, the GH7's hard to go past, right? It's a great camera, but the G9 Mark II is smaller and lighter, so for other people, that might be the winner. KCTB says, I just like that Sony doesn't allow custom white balance on custom profiles. What? Yeah, you know what? I never really... I used to see that in the comments, and I was like, what are you talking about? You can't set the white balance in custom modes. And then it happened to me. I was like, you can't modify it. What? Like, why? It's such a stupid limitation. I don't understand that at all. So, you're absolutely right. That's a massive pain in the butt. Sony A7S6? Is that supposed to be 4? 4 is going to show up. I don't think so. I doubt they'll release it. And you know what's going to happen, right? Based on the kind of thing they do with Sony. So they'll release, if they do release it, hypothetically, then the next FX3 will come out 3 months later, and then everyone who bought that A7S4 will end up selling it and buying the next one, and then Sony just makes a killing. So yeah, that's another reason I'm not overly interested in even waiting for that camera. What's it going to do that's going to be that much better than the A7S3, right? Maybe the IBIS will have the dynamic active steady shot thing. I just don't see it being that much better, right? Unless they completely go all out and put OpenGate in there and fix the custom white balance stuff. There's not a lot more they can really do. That camera still holds up. It's a very solid camera in, even now, 2024. It's been out for like 4 years. So I don't know. I don't know if there's another one coming or not, but yeah, who knows? PMAT says, hey mate, from Canberra, currently have a G85 with a 25mm 42.5mm f1.7 lenses. Can you recommend a budget field monitor that allows me to load LUTs? Yes. So Viltrox makes a great one. I can't remember the price off the top of my head. I did a video. If you go to my channel homepage and use the search thing, just type in Viltrox or field monitor, you'll see a picture of me with a cap outside. It was right as I had my head surgery, so I'm a bit slow in that video talking wise, but you'll notice what I was about to say, yeah, you'll notice I'm outside in the thumbnail. I've done a few different Viltrox reviews of monitors and a few other different field monitors, but that one in particular is great. Actually, it's right here. This one. I'll let you know what it is. I forgot I had it back here. I have it sometimes hooked up. It's the DC 550 Pro or 550 Pro. Have a look at one of these. These are great. You can load LUTs into it. It comes with a battery. The screen's easy to see. I sort of use this as a like an ATEM mini monitor a lot of the time if we take the camera equipment somewhere else, because it really does look great. It's a great little field monitor. If that isn't within your budget, there's some Cine ones which are actually pretty good. Just find one that you can power via USB-C. It makes a huge difference. Perhaps the end of year. I'm not sure what that was. Hey, Mr. Camera Junkie's here. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Guys, if you don't know his channel, go check it out if you're into the Sony gear and the discussion around new equipment and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for joining in. Sorry if my mic's a bit hot. I just realized it might have been clipping. Hopefully it's not distorting it on the listener's end. I'm not listening to this myself, so I'm just looking at the little monitors here. Hopefully it's okay. Anyway, mate, thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Oh, that's nice of you, mate. Remember to hit the like button. How many people we got here? Does it even tell me? 27 people here, 12 thumbs up. Let's underachieve and let's go for 15 thumbs up. All that stuff makes a huge difference, by the way, so thank you. All right, the Lazy March says, hi Shane, I have a dilemma of need versus want as well. I do a casual walk in the park, bird and flower. I think I need a GH7 or FX30 for longer record time, but my mind wants the ZF or XT5. I tell you what, if you're just doing mostly photos, right, the Fuji stuff's great. I got to review the XT4 ages ago. I really liked it, and I was talking about that earlier in the live stream. I'm kind of like, maybe I should get an X-mount camera as something that can do the third-party lens reviews, because I really like their stuff. Their Fuji cameras feel like they got a lot of soul to me. I know that sounds ridiculous, but they have a good feel about them. You know, they might not be for everybody, but I actually really like them. The FX30 is not a great photography camera in a lot of people's minds. I don't mind it because I'm not as serious of a photographer as a lot of people who watch camera review videos and all that, or who are into cameras in any capacity. I like taking photos, but I'm mostly a video guy. I've produced like 5,000 online videos or something crazy, right? So there's that. So I'm mostly doing, you know, I buy things that suit my particular use case. And if you want a great hybrid camera, the GH7 is arguably a way better hybrid camera than the FX30, but the FX30 is a great little video camera, but the in-body image stabilization isn't great. And once you start using tighter focal lengths, especially for video, you get these micro jitters that's really hard to get out of the footage. And yeah, there's ways around it, but it's a pain. So one of my things I'm thinking about now is I don't even want to own a gimbal anymore. I'm kind of done with all of that stuff. I feel like the cameras now you don't need them. Gimbals obviously will give you a particular look that you can't get handheld, but I don't want to carry one anywhere anymore. I bought a Ronin S many years ago, and it's so heavy and awkward. And now that the camera's in-body image stabilization on the most part is so good, I'm only using it for the Sony stuff. And I thought, yeah, so this is off topic completely, but if you want longer record time, I don't really know what the ZF is. I don't think I've used that camera. But XT5 is a pretty solid camera. That's one of the ones I'm definitely thinking about. Like, if I did get into the Fuji system, that's like a pretty great hybrid camera. I know they've also got that really cool like boost in-body image stabilization mode that kind of almost gives you that tripod look. So yeah, I mean, they're all very valid options, except I'm not 100% sure about the ZF. Nothing beats a GoPro in the field. Great image stabilization. I've found making vlogs and style photography videos presently. They're awesome. You know, every time we go away and I travel anywhere, I take a GoPro because I incorporate so much of that footage into my production, my videos on my other channel and on this channel. Anytime there's a car shot, or I've even shot short films using like pretty professional cameras, there's a GoPro shot in there in the car because it's easy to get. It looks great, and you know, you can put the GoPro in your pocket, you can throw them in the water. They're just fantastic cameras for great, you know, establishing, you know, you can just take them anywhere. You can just use them anywhere. I love GoPros. I don't love the fact that the battery life seems to be getting worse on them, but yeah, I've got a few, I think just right back here actually, or somewhere up here. I'm a big fan. I've stopped buying them though. Where are they? Oh, they're up there. I've stopped buying the new ones. There's not enough of a difference now for me to justify like upgrading. I got the 8, 9, and 10, and then I stopped. I'm like, I'm done. That's about as good as I need for what I do. So yeah, I think they're great little cameras. But anything you can put in your pocket like that's just awesome. Hey, we got Sammy here. Welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. Guys, go check out Sammy's channel. I think he got hacked a while back. I remember seeing on Peter Gregg mentioned it. So, but I think he's back. So, guys, if you want to see some short films and creative stuff, check out Sammy. So, thanks for joining in, mate. I appreciate it. All right. I think Sony still has the best autofocus system in the world. I would say they got the most reliable in most situations, but they're definitely not as responsive in certain situations. Being that I own both, there's definitely pros and cons to both systems. The Sony will stay more stuck onto your eye, but it won't find you as easily when you're further back in the frame. The Panasonic's much better at detecting a body in the scene or anything animal tracking, all that kind of stuff. It will find something a lot further back, and it will maintain focus. I'm using autofocus the entire time with this. I trust it completely. But there's times where if you cover your face a little too much, it will go to your hand. Whereas the Sony, see my eye's still here? The Sony will stay on my eye a little bit more before it moves over to my hand. So yeah, it's the right and wrong tool for the job. Occasionally, if you're using the Panasonic, you can hold something up and it may switch to the foreground sooner. Now, I've got this on body tracking, and when I tested the original S5 Mark II against my A7S3, if I was walking across the frame fairly fast, the Panasonic would change focus and find me, whereas the Sony didn't. It didn't find me in the scene. And you can set the speed and responsiveness differently on all of the cameras, but this was with everything basically in the middle, and the Panasonic was faster. That doesn't mean it's better. I think the touch to focus and tracking modes on the Sony system is still better than most of the Panasonic cameras, but not all. The S9 is the first one that has, and the GH7 and a few of the others from the new generation, where if you tap on screen, it will pull focus exactly the same. So they've kind of got that sort of, that was always a weak spot with some of the older cameras. Even the S5 Mark II, the touch to focus isn't as good as some of the more recent cameras that have come out. Even the G9 Mark II has great touch to focus, but yeah, it's getting closer. The gap's getting smaller now. So I still agree. And this is just talking about the cameras I own. I know the new cameras have the AI tracking and all that kind of stuff. So that puts it into a different league. But yeah, absolutely. All right. By the way, I'm living in Thailand, which is not hot all the year round. I do want some extra cooling to handle the heat. All right. I might have missed your first question here. I did. Let's just go. Oh, sorry. Okay. I answered that already. Yeah, that's the active cooling's the way to go, mate. If you live somewhere hot or you're in direct sunlight, just get a camera with a fan. You won't even ever have to think about it then. It's definitely worth doing. I started with the GH2. Far out, that's going back. And GX8, and now the G9 Mark II. Awesome stuff, Paul. I love my G9 Mark II. It's a great little camera. Actually, it's right here. I have it currently set up with the 12 to 35. I was going to take this out and use it on my next video. So it's ready to rock and roll. I'll leave that over there. We need a small micro 4/3 like the S9. I think if they do make a micro 4/3 version of this, it will be the exact same body. My prediction is I'll release this exact thing with micro 4/3 sensor of the G9 Mark II or something like that. It'll be physically identical, much like the G9 Mark II is the same as the S5 Mark IIX essentially, but without the fan. It's the same overall build quality and design and form factor and all that kind of stuff. I think they'll do the same with this at some point. They have to, right? Like, I just don't understand why they wouldn't want a less expensive camera. I mean, this isn't super cheap, obviously, but you know, if you talk micro 4/3, and because they'd already have the design of this body, I'm tipping the price could also be less. So that might be kind of cool. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with that. I would love to see that as well. That S9, man, it's fun. It's a fun camera. I know you either love it or hate it, but it's one of those things. Right. Just one sec, guys. I'll just have a quick drink. Actually got some water today. We'll probably go for an hour, and then I'll put all the timestamps in. So if you watch it on the playback or whatever, all the questions and comments and stuff will be in a list, so you can skip around and make it nice and easy. If you're dead set on changing... Oh, sorry. I'm reading the wrong question. Sorry, Paul. Wife has an Olympus. I just can't handle the menu. Yeah, that's one of the problems I had with the Olympus stuff. I had an OMD EM1 Mark II, and it's a great little camera. It's still very good even now. Like, if you're a photographer, it's killer. And if you like to shoot, you know, if you can live with 8-bit video, it's fine. It's got phase detection, autofocus as well. One of the firmware updates really improved the autofocus performance on that camera. It's a great camera. But yeah, the menus on some of these other cameras I don't love. And that's kind of one of the reasons I got rid of my original A7C was I didn't love that menu system. it's not a deal breaker. You get to learn how to use a certain thing. But yeah, I found like on Olympus cameras, the autofocus modes were a bit confusing. You used to have to get that. You used to have to pick your points kind of thing, like a box in the middle, box a little further out, and then I don't know. Yeah, I agree. It can be a bit confusing. All right, A6700 has auto framing and standard and active steady shot. Okay, thank you. That's hard to say. Why can't I say that? Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that, man. Cool. I use the FX30 and love it, but I'm going to get an older red camera soon to mess around. Very good prices now. Oh, very cool, man. Getting a red, huh? Just watch the prices of all the accessories. I hear like everything for red cameras is expensive. Maybe not so much on the old ones, but I remember watching a video about some, I think it might have been Linus Tech Tips years ago, upgraded to red cameras, and the batteries were like $300 US or something. I was like, what? So just make sure you can get your accessories at a good price. I think it's the add-ons for a lot of red stuff that cost a fortune. I've never shot with them, but I like the look of them. There's another really great channel. They don't really do much on like straight up camera gear anymore, but they had a red camera. They compared it up against the GH5S, which was a different sort of censored camera for micro. It was a micro four thirds camera, but it had slightly wider sensor. And then they ended up getting a Blackmagic Ursa 12K, and they loved that camera. It's called Craft Show, I think is the name of the YouTube channel. So yeah, go check that out. They've got some good videos on all those sort of cine. They do like proper productions and movies and stuff, and yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. So they might have the camera you're talking about in their archive, is where I'm going with that. I'll just be one sec. All right, sorry, I just had to shut my door. It was banging. All right, if you're dead set on changing out your Sonys and you can afford it, stick with a full frame Sony, in my opinion. Yeah, it kind of only really leaves me with a few alternatives, right? Like current ones, maybe the A7C2, good hybrid camera. That's kind of where I'm thinking I might go if I flip these two. Or just wait and see what happens with the announcement coming up next week, which might be the ZV or ZVE 10 Mark II. I always get their model numbers confused. Yeah, the APS-C one. So I think there's a new kind of like vlogging camera coming out. That might be enough for what I want, but ideally I want a mechanical shutter as well, because a lot of the times when I'm testing lenses, the biggest disadvantage with the FX30, for example, is no mechanical shutter. There's no burst photography on there at all. And after I sold my A7S3, I was like, oh no, I think I'm going to miss that feature. And we went to do some burst photos the other day and I couldn't. I was like, oh no. So you might be right. I'll have a good think about it over the next couple of days and then come up with something. A7C2 might be the smartest all-round choice for something that I don't need a flagship camera for. I think that would be probably, you're right, maybe that might be the best choice. I'll run a poll. Let's see what people think. Okay. Thank you. Never had a Sony. Am I missing out on the autofocus and high ISO? I do have two GH6S cameras. Sorry about the motorbikes going by right now. I do have two GH6 cameras. If I upgrade again, full frame LUMIX compatible XLR2 has a screen like the GH6. I'm going to need a clearer explanation of what that says. Sorry, dude. All right. I buy last month a Sigma full frame lens because I buy S5 Mark IIX in future, but now the GH7 came out with more features. I'm total confusion what to do. So I understand this confusion because a lot of people they see the newest thing as always the best, but it doesn't really mean that it is. It comes down to your shooting conditions and situations. So if it was me and I had a chance between a GH7 and an S5 Mark IIX for doing this kind of stuff, talking to the camera, I'm picking the S5 Mark IIX. I don't need 4K at 120 frames per second to be shooting this type of stuff, right? The in-body image stabilization is the same, so if you're shooting in the regular frame rates, they're both they're both great, but the S5 Mark IIX will give me a slightly better look. And this is all subjective. You might not like the blurry background. You might love it. It's up to you. Micro Four Thirds gives you a different look, and it's a great look. There's less crops, and you can record RAW out to an SSD. But if these are things you'll never use, there's no point switching over. If you've already got it like a whole lot of Micro Four Thirds lenses, then do it. But the S5 Mark IIX and the GH7 are completely different lens mounts, and you can't use the same lenses on each camera. So you basically, you'll end up having to sell your lens, sell your camera, get a GH7, and then start buying lenses. The advantage Micro Four Thirds has is there's a lot more affordable lenses, and they're smaller. Like that's the 24-70 equivalent, and you can see just how small it is, right? I had the Sigma 24-70 for one day, and I took it back. It was just too big. So if you're looking for something small and lightweight, the G9 Mark II, GH7 bodies aren't necessarily small, but the lenses are very small. But it's not to say the GH7 is a better camera for everybody over the S5 Mark IIX. I don't think that's the case. And for the kind of stuff that I'm shooting, I don't use a lot of 4K 120 anymore. I did because it was a novelty, but I don't use it much. 60 is enough for me now. So yeah, it's confusing, but you got to think about why you don't like the camera you have and why you're thinking about switching, and see if any of those extra features help you in any way. I'm on the fence doing this right now with getting rid of some stuff. I'm kind of, should I do this? Should I do that? I've just got to analytically think about, like, what am I doing here and why? And what's the best option? But just selling a full frame camera for a Micro Four Thirds camera, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The X is still fantastic, unless you've already got a lot of Micro Four Thirds lenses and you're happy to sell everything and start again. Because again, they're not interchangeable. Micro Four Thirds lenses don't fit on full frame cameras. Do you want to tell a story? Get a Blackmagic or Panasonic? Yeah, Blackmagic cameras are great. Yeah, I would love to try one of those. I haven't had a chance to use any of their stuff. I've thought about it a few times, but yeah, I don't think I'm really the target audience for a Blackmagic camera. I don't want to rig things out. I know their screens don't really move much, and there's no IBIS, which is a bit of a bummer for me. I don't want to have to deal with all of that anymore. For me, it's all about what's the easiest solution. But yeah, I agree. They're still great cameras. I reckon the Blackmagic stuff looks just absolutely beautiful. Had the GH7 pre-ordered, decided to cancel it and get a deal on G9 Mark II. If Micro Four Thirds was my main camera, I'd be all over it now, but G9 Mark II will do for my retainer work clients. It's great. You'll love it. It's looks like you hit the gym, man. Jeez, look at those arms. I'm getting back into it slowly after tearing a tendon in my forearm that was out for about 9 months. So I'm slowly getting back into it. But yeah, the G9 Mark II is such a great camera. And I think now that the 7 is out, a lot of people, or a lot less people, will be buying the G9 Mark II. And these are so much more affordable now because of that GH7 announcement. And I think they're like 99% of people will get enough out of this. It's just the certain shooting conditions in the sun, or if you do need active cooling. Thing is, I actually reviewed this little Ulanzi fan a little while ago, which really helps with heat dissipation. You just clip it onto the back, and that works in even in 4K 120 frames per second. You can shoot for a lot longer. So yeah, I don't know. I think the G9 Mark II is completely underrated. I think this might be, I have a feeling there'll be more people I don't know if there'll be more people getting this used now because everyone's migrating to a GH7, but I'm not getting rid of mine. I love this little guy, and I love the fact it's not as big as the GH7 as well, but GH7's a beast. The fan, it's all about the fan with the GH7, not necessarily the RAW. Now that you got my attention, I've only been saying this for years, your film can only look as good as the screen that it's viewed on. All right. Audio video has been good. Oh, thank you, Mr. Camera Junkie. I appreciate that. I know I'm really behind the the chat here, but so I'm just going to scroll down because I saw, look at this. The man himself is here, Peter Gregg. I stole his E-Camm Live, this streaming software from Peter's channel. Guys, if you don't know Peter's channel, go over, support him. He's one of the OGs in the camera niche. Great dude. I got to meet him 2 years ago? I went over in Miami and we did a video together, and it was a whole bunch of fun meeting him. So, but what camera should I buy? Oh, that's the question. It's easy. It's an easy answer, Peter. You already know the answer. So go check out Peter Gregg's channel, folks. He'll probably be live. Did you go live this weekend? I don't think you did, right? I didn't see any notifications come up. Anyway, I'll double check because I've had my head down this weekend. I thought I'd better do a live stream now. Lazy March says, I hope Fuji to upgrade the autofocus PDAF soon. Keep up with Pana. Fuji's always has a special place in my heart. I want their cameras to be more reliable with autofocus. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I sort of went down the rabbit hole of XH2S videos over the last few days and thinking about whether or not I go down that route as a camera to review third-party lenses. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. I still don't sort of trust it myself, their autofocus system, but I think it's still workable to some extent, but it doesn't have that nice, smooth focus pull. It's just jarring. If you pull focus, you set up a box and you pull focus from the foreground to the background, it just sort of goes like the old DFD days a little bit. Well, DFD days were probably not as good, but yeah, there's something about their autofocus I'm not too sure about either. So yeah, it makes it a bit hard to trust their system unless you're a manual focus shooter, mostly. There's always these workarounds though with cameras. Like with DFD, I managed to make it work on the most part using the one area box mode and setting up the speed and sensitivity a certain way, and then like working within its limitations. And I'm sure the Fuji system's very similar, but probably more effective than that. So you can make most autofocus systems work. Even the S5, like the original one, that had contrast DFD, but that camera with these new lenses was pretty good. You could almost use it like this. Sorry, just one sec. I'll just go up the chat. Yeah, we got Richard Wong here as well, man. Just joining the live stream now. Thanks, mate. I just watched your video. It was awesome, man. You're talking about why is there no new small micro 4/3 camera? And I agree. I think your points were spot on, mate. I think they're going to reuse this camera body, if I had to guess, and they'll put a micro 4/3 sensor in it, and they'll be done. That's my prediction, but we'll see. We'll see. That was a great video, guys. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Richard's he's an engineer. He knows his stuff. All right, let me just see if I missed any questions here. We're probably going to wrap this up pretty soon. Like I said, we'll go for right on an hour or thereabouts, and we're almost there. I'll timestamp this after the fact, and if you missed the start, give me about an hour, and I'll put all the timestamps in so you can skip around and find all the questions, all that kind of stuff. Sammy says, I was bidding on a red 5K camera for $1,200, and I lost the bid, and now there's one for... Oh, but there's one for $800. Do it. We've got to enable Sammy here. He's yeah, that's crazy. Very good. $800. That seems pretty good. How old are these red cameras, by the way? Are they like I take it they're all 4K, right? At least, or are they higher resolution than that? I don't know as much about red cameras. I've seen reviews on them and stuff, but yeah, like I said, back in the day, all the accessories were so expensive. I just went, there's no way I would get into that. But some of these used cameras, definitely the way to go. I mean, they're still going to be great now, right? Let's just scroll down. Some of us are still using EF mount users with both the S1 and S1H and GH5, GH6 bodies. Metabones adapters, speed boosters are reported to have an update for PDAF on the G9 Mark II by August. Well, that's really good. I didn't know that. Everyone's like, oh, can you test a Metabones speed booster with the autofocus on the G9 Mark II or GH7? And I'm like, I don't own any of those lenses, unfortunately. I think Caleb Hoover did a video on the G9 Mark II. I think it was with the adapter, but it was shot at f8. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why, but it worked. It worked okay. So it'd be great to see an update to that. Yeah, if it works really well. I'm not really big into adapters. I think there's too much that can go wrong doing that kind of stuff when you compare it up against just native lenses. But I see the benefits of it as well, just in terms of what you can do with adapters, wider field of view, faster lenses, all that kind of stuff. Peter is always a good watch. Yeah, Peter's he's the man. He's the one take king. I've seen it firsthand. It's awesome to watch. It's getting late here in the States. Good luck with the gear choices. Hey, thank you, Mike. All the best, mate. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate it. It's good to see you. Hopefully see you next weekend if we do another one of these. And Richard says, Chris says, editing a project right now where I shot S1H, EVA 1, GH6 and G9 Mark II. The GH6 footage pretty much needs noise reduction because of so much color noise. I don't know why there's so much color noise on my other cams. Okay, interesting. I'm not too sure. I mean, yeah, I haven't shot with an S1H or EVA 1 before. The GH6's image is pretty awesome, man. I think it's a step up over like pretty much everything. Well, I'm not going to say like the newer cameras, but you know, compared to some of the older sensors, it looks really nice. Yeah, I'm not too sure. All right, so Richard says Fuji autofocus is still not quite there for video. Yeah, that's the thing, right? They're like, everyone was waiting for Panasonic to get their act together. They finally did, and now they're, I think, the last one to potentially get it sorted. I know Peter's got a few of the Nikon cameras, so they all seem to be doing a pretty great job now. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I like the Fuji cameras. They feel good to use. I like the aesthetic. They got a lot of good lenses. They're kind of like a good middle ground size-wise as well. But yeah, maybe I'll give it a miss. We'll see how we go. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Again, I'll timestamp the live stream so you can skip ahead and back and forth if you need to do that after the fact. But yeah, we'll catch you on maybe next weekend. I'm going to try and do these once every weekend. It's my Sunday afternoon here. We started around 1:45 in the afternoon. I'll try and schedule it up at least 30 minutes ahead of time next time, so there's a bit more notice. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And I'll just take this last question here. Do you know if the Leica Monochrome will be added to the S5 II line? Hopefully. I don't really know. They don't really tell me any of that stuff, but there's already plenty of great black and white profiles in those cameras anyway. But yeah, that one says Leica Monochrome. All right, guys, take care. All the best. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Oh yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be a bit of a clickbait video coming up.